Hey guys, so today I'm going to be taking this underbed container that holds my quite large Dubia Roach colony here, and I am going to be moving all of these guys into here. So when I redo my room, it'll have quite a large space underneath that will hold not only my not only 6 of these tubs, but also a kind of dresser part, so then I don't have to have a dresser in my room anymore. It'll be under my bed, so it'll hold my clothes. And one of these is going to be for the Dubia roaches. So first I had to modify that, and I'll show you that right now. So these are just holes for humidity to escape and to make sure that while the humidity escapes, the Dubia roaches don't. So that's why I put the felt, even though Dubia roaches can't climb plastic or anything. So I think that turned out really great, and I did that so there'd be enough airflow inside this cage. They don't need a ton, but just enough to let out so it doesn't get super humid, because humidity can really damage a colony. But as you can see, this container only has these holes, so that's like more preferred to do something like this, have a mesh bit, especially since Dubia roaches are born really small, and while they can't climb plastic or fly, having holes that they could potentially somehow magically get out of is unideal. So this way they won't be able to get out of them at all. So I'm going to be cleaning this enclosure. What I'm going to be doing is I don't actually clean the Dubia roaches anymore. I take out like rotten food and I'll just clean this area. Okay, I really don't clean their like the poop or anything. So as you can see, there's a lot built up. If I can just move this real quick, there's a lot built up, okay, and that's a mix of poop and also they chew on this for some reason, and it's probably some of that as well. So, well, also a few dead ones, as you can see. So what I'll do is I'll just put that poop into my soil, because all they eat is oats, and this is a bunch of pear rinds, and while they really like them, they can only really handle one at a time, I see. So if I just put one in here, then they'll devour it in like a night, but since I put a bunch of them, they couldn't get to them, and they're kind of moldy now, so I need to take those out. But the I'm gonna put the Dubia roach poop in my soil, because that'll be good for the plants. And then any dead ones, which just kind of happens, you know, they get old, like whatever, some of the adults die, I'll just throw those in my terrariums, because the isopods will like eat them up in a night. So yeah, and then I have this temperature gauge or whatever. I think I'm just gonna throw this away now. I'm not really worried about it. And then for heating this tank right now, I have that just like a normal heat pad for like people, and I'll just be putting that under this one in the when it finally it'll sit under it, just like that tank. So now I'm just going to be taking everything out, and I'll just transfer it right over, and then I have a little plate that I'll be putting the food on, and then I'll just do the oats the same way. I put them partly in a container and then partly out of a container. I moved over most of the Dubia roaches by moving over the old egg crate, and then I took out the food and took the rest of the Dubia roaches out, and then I had to sort through the poop for baby Dubia roaches. So the reason that I don't clean this tank very often is, again, the poop doesn't really hurt anything, and I do clean out like the gross wet part. But the main reason is I don't like to stress them out. So if they've recently had babies or are having babies, I don't want to mess that up. And if they're shedding, then they're kind of delicate, and whenever I have to like clean it out, I don't really have anywhere I can put these, so I have to get them completely all into like a tub, just the Dubia roaches, and that's a lot of stress on all of them. But obviously moving some I had to some of it I had to bang off, or some of them I had to bang off just from the really old egg cartons. But They were fine. Those were mostly like babies, and I don't really worry about those, so that's why I don't clean it all that often. But when you do, you can reuse the poop in your bioactive soil if you would like. Okay, so real quick, here's some dead Dubia roaches that happen. Sometimes I drop the egg crate on them, and sometimes they just die. It happens. But luckily, my geckos don't eat enough to diminish the population any, so I'm always producing more adults, I think, at this point. So what I'm going to do is this terrarium, this bioactive terrarium right here, has isopods. Let's see if we can find some. There's 2 right there, 1 right there, and 1 right there. And they will eat Dubia roaches. Some seem to be more carnivorous than others, actually. So I'll just take them. This is just a skin. But there's also some full-size ones. Sometimes I try to break them open because they have quite hard exoskeletons. But again, it's just dead, and then they can't eat the exoskeleton, but they will end up eating the insides, which is kind of cool and gross and whatnot. But obviously you just saw me sort through Dubia roach poop, so I'm pretty much fine with gross. And then my iguana cage has more, even more isopods. So what I'll do is whenever I want to give anything to the isopods, I put them back in this corner. Because as you can see, or you probably can't see, but there's just isopods like crawling around the wall and stuff. I put it right back in this corner because then the iguana can't get to it, so I don't have to worry about him eating any rotten stuff, because I obviously don't want that. And then the Dubia roaches can eat it, and they'll eat it, and I'll put the iguana's old food, I'll move it back there. Sometimes I put the crested gecko's old food, just different stuff. Put it back there, and then what I'm going to do is right here we have all the nice lovely remains, and I'm just going to put that in my soil here. So this is my tub of soil. I'm just going to dump it in there. So that's all the droppings of the Dubia roaches, and I don't really see why not to reuse it. And then all the gross food stuff, I'll just probably throw that away. I would like to get like a proper compost system, but even still, even if I tried to set something up in my room, which is basically my bioactive terrariums, it's basically a compost system in a way. I mean, I'm dumping old stuff in my terrariums. I don't think I could get anything that would support that much, so I'll probably just throw that away because I don't feel like going outside right now because it's cold, because it's winter time. But generally, I'll try to take scraps and throw them in the garden. Not the actual these things though. I'll just throw those away. So here we have the roaches. That's the container that I'll be putting. Well, actually, I don't know. I want to put the lettuce on there just so then like the tub doesn't get gross. But I'm kind of worried that babies won't be able to get on top, so we'll see. But here I have them vertically, all these things, and they seem to be on them just fine. And I think that's pretty much it. So, and then I can put my lid up there, and they'll just love this because normally they'd have a little bit of light from the sides, but now it's just completely dark in there for them, and they really like that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, like it down below. If you have any comments or concerns, put in the comments below. And if you want more content, then subscribe. Have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you in the next video.